Not going to have a lot of positivity today, but I'm going to try to be an optimist and put somewhat of a positive spin on today. What's worse than losing 31-6? How about 31-0? That's exactly what the Raiders did. Kansas City Chiefs put a whooping on them early and often. That is a rivalry game. What's worse than Tua Tagovailoa going 12 for 23, 100 yards and 3 interceptions? One Geno Smith for the Raiders going 10 for 16 with 67 yards. He didn't throw interceptions, though. Barely threw the ball. Whew. If that makes you feel any better,
Or it could be Trevor Lawrence during that London game, too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm glad
that was pretty bad,
I'm
too.
glad I could bring some happiness to your life. You can jump on the YouTube, Twitch. You can hear us on the Odyssey app and 560 and 104.3 FM WQAM in Miami. One of the Twitchers, I Am Tonto, says, real question. Will everyone show up on time for the player meetings this week?
305-567-0560.
I have a feeling some people might not be making it back to these meetings, and some people won't be wanting to go to the meetings. That's just what I'm saying. 305-567-0560. Going to Alejandro. Alejandro in Hollywood. Go ahead.
Gameday, it's a terrible day here in South Florida, man.
That was demoralizing.
I don't know what to tell you.
Demoralizing.
Something's got to give.
Something.
Yeah, demoralizing, embarrassing. Let me tell you something. The Cleveland Browns were the laughingstock of the NFL with the Deshaun Watson contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the very near future, we're going to be the laughingstock with the Tua Tagovailoa contract, because I think he's going to wind up on the bench, man. This is terrible. The only positive thing that I can say is that we're going to get a high draft pick, but yet again, obviously, you cannot let Chris Greer make that decision. Somebody else has got to make that decision. They got to do something, move him in the organization, whatever they need to do. And obviously, when we make those draft picks going forward, we cannot trust, Mike McDaniel to develop them. So something's got to give. I don't know if it's going to happen now.
Right.
But definitely, it needs to happen.
Well, look, I'll tell you this. Trevor Harris and I, before we went on the air, Trevor's like, okay, we got to switch it over to NFL Network just in case Stephen Ross gets a little testy and decides to rattle some cages. Probably not, but you never know. 305-567-0560. We've got Jeremy in Hollywood. Jeremy, how are things?
You tell me, Dan.
Not good. Not good.
This game was a result of organizational failure.
Correct.
You tied the Dolphins' hands by tampering to try to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady. You failed at getting that. And now you have a lawsuit that's hanging over our head.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can't get rid of Chris Greer. And this is where we are. This is an organizational failure. It starts with Stephen Ross because he's the owner. He gave, for some reason, Chris Greer the keys to the kingdom, and he has totally messed this up.
I'm here for cleaning it up, cleaning the house, because they tried everything. Like I've talked before, they tried the whole tanking thing. That didn't work. They tried paying every free agent and star they could pay. That didn't work. They tried to make everybody happy. That didn't work. They tried the coach that is the new age coach that, is really buddy and doesn't yell and scream and kick. You know what? That didn't work. They tried we're leaders this year. That didn't work. They tried, we're going to get big guys up front and we're going to be tougher in the trenches. That didn't work. We're going to be dogs this year. That didn't work. What's the common denominator? Well,
you went from one extreme, right, from Brian Flores coming from the Bill Belichick tree, and then you go from another, you swing the pendulum to the other side where, McDaniel is the polar opposite of Flores, right?
Right.
And now both seems to be a failure. So again, you have to look at Stephen Ross and Greer and what exactly do they want? Because anybody could say, hey, we want to win. What is winning to you guys? What does it look like, in the off season and on the football field? This is not winning football. This hasn't been winning football for a very, very long time. I mean, what is the difference between Huizinga and Ross? There is no difference. I mean, we could have known this was going to be bad when Ross came in and changed the jersey, right? This is bad. This is just bad. So I think it really just starts with Ross. But I would say get Chris Greer away from any football decision making. Get someone who can really turn this around and make the decisions. Because
Jeremy, I'm all there for you, man. I understand it's just a sticky situation. we find ourselves in 305-567-0560. Of course, we want to hear from you. So right now we're going to go back to the phone lines. We've got Jack in Fort Lauderdale. Jack, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, D-Day. I love you, man, and I think that Trevor does a great job, and you guys at the station are just exceptional, and you deserve extra compensation for the misery that we have to live with.
You make me feel good on this very, very cloudy day in my life.
You are one cool cat, and I've always enjoyed your stuff. Anyways, listen, I've been here a long time. I was here during the perfect season. I'm one of your old school Dolphin guys that grew up when I was 9 years old. I mean, like the Joe Rose brother-in-law song is like, my anthem. Okay. But we are a team that comes from the land of broken toys. Okay. And I want to tell you that every other caller that's called in today has nailed it in every aspect. But the reality is it is the ownership and the spirit in which this team is operated. And you look around the league and you look at the royalty teams, the Steelers, the Giants, the New England Patriots, to think that they're about to turn things around in a 5-year window. And we're sitting here 25 years of pain and suffering. When does it end? And it isn't, because we're going to trip over ourselves every single day. Look at all of the people that we have had associated with this team that have been traded away, left, whatever, and have thrived everywhere else. It goes back to the times of Wes Welker. Oh, yeah. Okay? So, I mean, I don't know if there is a real answer. I still am a season ticket holder, and I'm a suffering season ticket holder. And I just wanted to, I'm listening. I'm just on the road right now. I go down to see my mom. I live in Lauderdale, but now I'm going down to see her in Miami. And it's just, I have to actually mentally prepare myself in many ways to watch this game, whether it's Gosling's Black Seal Rum, whether it's something to do with flowering. I just don't know how to cope. But you can turn this game on. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. Tua just got intercepted again. I mean, it just doesn't get any worse. And it
really does not feel very. You feel like you hit rock bottom now. I don't know how it could get much worse than the Cleveland Browns and that pitiful performance and them whooping you up and down the field in every aspect of the game. It just feels like, and I know this didn't happen, it feels like devil came to the Dolphins in 1971 or what and said, you know what? How about this trade? We'll give you the only perfect season that ever existed in the NFL. Maybe the only perfect season that'll ever exist in the NFL. But you have to trade me at least 50 bad years of football. And of course, there was some good years in there. Dan Marino had some years. They had good runs. But it just seems like, did we make a deal with the devil to have the only undefeated team? That we were never going to get back and win a Super Bowl? That now we can't even get into the playoffs? That we can't win playoff games? I hope not. It's just frustrating right now. 305-567-0560. Jay in Westchester. Jay, go ahead.
And Day, how are you, brother?
Hurting.
I feel you, brother. I'm 30 years old. I've been a fan for like 25 years. So this has been a repeat, like Groundhog's Day on repeat, brother. It's the same day, just a different year. But,
they've given you nothing in your whole life. In your whole life, they've given you nothing.
So, like, the bigger, broader perspective, like, I know everyone wants the coaches fired, but, like, to me, it starts with Greer. It's always started with Greer, with all the decision-making. Building this roster, that started with Greer. This line started with Greer, especially last year, how arrogant he was, telling us, you guys are worried about the line more than we are. And it goes back to all the decision-making from last offseason to signing Tua, not taking his fifth-year option when he's only giving you one decent year, and spending money on that, then extending McDaniel, paying Ramsey, and then for some reason giving Jalen Waddle top 5 receiver money, hurting us in the cap. And now we're going to go into this offseason with Achane probably done with his rookie contract. We're not going to be able to afford him. My suggestion is we're going to have to, I would say, but obviously Chris Greer is going to be in charge of that situation, and that's terrible. But we're going to get compensation for A-Chain, get a first-round pick, or you're going to be left releasing him for free for him to sign for a better team. And to me, who's getting missed in all of this? The CEO, Tom Garfinkel, because I don't know how influential he is into this process, because I know everyone wants to blame Stephen Ross, but like one of your callers said it, Stephen Ross wants to win, and he has spent the money, and he is trying, but there's someone consulting him, which CEO Tom Garfinkel, then it's Chris Greer or someone else that we do not know in the shadows, but it's someone up top not helping the situation. And what I see for right now is even if you fire everybody except for Chris Greer, all I see is a repeat of another 20 years of the same thing happening all over again. Tua is, to me, Tannehill 2.0. A guy who stole money from us and is just going to give us mediocre to crap play. Like,
I understand what you're saying. Look, the old saying around here in South Florida was, if Tua's healthy, we'll be fine. He'll play great. He'll lead the league in some great statistical category. The truth is, Tua has been healthy this year that we know of. For the most part, I know he had a little bit of a hip, he had a little bit of thumb, but for the most part, healthy and playing, and he has been absolutely bottom of the barrel in the league. 305-567-056. You going to my Duty out in Atlanta. Duty, what's up, bro?
How are you hearing me? I'm on my headphones.
You
I'm
sound
not
great.
sure how these work.
Sound great.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, where you at, Gameday?
Been better places, man. I'm starting to kind of lose my gusto for this Dolphins team, at least today. But I'm overall happy. Overall happy.
Well, I don't blame you for that.
With life, not the Dolphins.
Yeah, of course. But I just had my dad up here for the weekend. He's 74 years old, and obviously lived in South Florida when the Dolphins became a team in '66, and he saw, perfect season, Super Bowls and everything. And he just told me today, this may be one of the worst games he's seen in the 60 years he's been a Dolphins fan. And I can't argue with that. It was pretty miserable all around.
Duty, outside of a 3-3 tie with 14-14 left in the second quarter, we had no hope the rest of the day.
Yeah, which is just gross because this is, a despicable team that we just went up against. And I actually had a conversation with my brother who actually, he played football. He played for a D3 school and then again in Europe for a couple of, American football teams over there. And he said, I can't think of any quarterbacks I would take, below Tua. And I said, well, maybe Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Maybe Geno Smith.
Geno Smith.
And then I was like, maybe Dylan Gabriel. And then I was, after today, I was like, nah, I'd even take Dylan Gabriel. And obviously he's making a good deal less amount of money. And we're basically, handcuffed to Tua for at least the next few years. So that kind of sucks. So I was thinking, obviously with Greer in place as is, like, you can't just tank and then expect him to make all the picks.
Right.
Like at this point, this is in need of a total rebuild. So if you end up with a top 3 pick, you have to trade that down and you just have to rebuild through the draft all over again. Like, this is a blow it up scenario. And I mean, any assets we have, we need to start moving as soon as possible. But I don't really trust Greer to do that. So
also, Duty, I hate to be like this, it's not the biggest draft either, with full of stars coming up this year either.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, material, you got a couple of decent quarterbacks, but I don't know how well they're going to translate it in the NFL. And Beck just kind of showed, he's probably not the guy either. I thought for the first few weeks he looked like he could be the guy. Nice touch passes, he can move around a little bit, he's got some size, but I don't think there's anybody worth taking with a top 3 pick right now. So you gotta move that pick, get more picks, and just rebuild it, but with someone that might actually have some idea of what they're doing. It doesn't seem like we have that in place right now.
Yeah, I equate it to a guy comes up and says, "Oh, I'm going to tear down your house and I'm going to rebuild it." And you're like, "Okay, well, where did you go to carpentry school or architecture school?" I didn't go to school for that. I'm
don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that.
I'll figure it out. How hard can it be to build a house? How hard can it be to put together a roster? Come on, it's easy.
Yeah, and it's obviously harder than most people would think, but it's easier than Greer makes it seem. Like, any one of us on the street could have made better decisions in so many spots. Like, I mean, when we traded up to get Jalen Watt, I didn't like that move. Like, And then paying him like that seemed kind of dumb because like he's at best like a wide receiver too, and now we're hamstrung with him too. Like now we got him on the books for almost $30 million. And I've called a few times. I can't stand the fact that we paid him that much. And
Right.
have you noticed whenever he goes to catch the ball, his feet are always off the ground. He's always jumping to catch the ball. Like, what is that? Is he like just afraid? Like if his feet are on the ground, he might get hurt because obviously that happens all the time anyway.
Part of the time too is throwing it so above his head he has to jump, but then the other time, it's just how he catches passes. Yeah, that's how he catches passes, dude. We appreciate it so much. It's tough times. I don't know how it gets lower than this right now. I really don't. 1-5 versus 1-5, bad weather. Tua can't play good in bad weather. I mean, prove that one again. We go out there and get beaten every aspect of the game. I can't think of anything, Trevor. What did the Dolphins win at today? Maybe running back. Wait, I know that Devon Achane
helped me in fantasy today.
Quinshon Judkins had 2 more yards than Devon Achane, so kind of technically didn't win that one. He had 3 touchdowns. Oh, man. I don't know if we won anything today. Offense, no. Defense, no. Special teams,
you made
no.
Dylan Gabriel look like a first-round pick today.
Coaching, no.
No.
Backups, no. That's why you lose 31-6, and you never had a lead in the game against a 2-5 reeling Cleveland Browns team.
Really only be able to score 13 points all year.
Right. No aspect do I feel as though the Dolphins won today, other than maybe they helped their draft status, which that's ancillary.
You can't even go with that anyways.
That's a terrible consolation prize. But you do stay tied for worst record. No. We got to stick it down. The Jets did.
They lost 13-6 to Carolina.
When you think it's bad, once again, you could be the Jets, you could be the Raiders right now, but you're right there neck and neck with them. You're in their neighborhood. You're in their house.
You could be the Titans too.
305, 567. At least you got a number 1 overall pick and quarterback that maybe might turn into something.
But your ownership's an absentee owner as well. She only comes in on games day.
What do we have with the Dolphins right now?
You have an absentee owner as well too.